to speak in the Midland accent because it's just the most easy, darling. So we're going to put you on Fledge. Fledge, darling. Have you met Fledge? She's my good friend. We're from the same region. What suburb are we from?
Northamptonshire.
Northamptonshire. You probably don't know how to spell that because Americans.
Great story.
Anyway, so it was my sister-in-law's birthday, right? And my grandmama, my nun, she prepared. This one's laughing here. She prepared. My nun, she prepared chicken and dumplings.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so anyway,
This is funny. It's not even just like Jules' reaction. It's hilarious.
they left my 4-year-old nephew in the kitchen to eat alone, right?
Yeah.
The poor soul.
She's crying. Jules is crying. It's too funny.
Okay, basically.
So I go into the kitchen to fetch myself some chicken and dumplings, and I see my nephew there crying, and I'm like, Dakota, what is wrong, darling? And he points to his bowl of chicken and dumplings, and I look, and he's dumped an entire can of black pepper crushed into his chicken and dumplings. And I said, well, darling, and he cried. So I mix up his chicken and dumplings, and it's black through and through. There's no mixing it up. I mean, an entire can of crushed black pepper. And I said, you have to eat this. And I said, did your parents see this? And he said, yes. And I said, and he still said you had to eat it, darling. And he said, yes. And I said, oh. And I'm no one to question parenting techniques. So I said, okay, darling, if I get my own bowl of chicken and dumplings and I eat it here with you, will you stop crying? And he said, well, yes. And I said,
Well, yes. Well, yes.
and I said, good. But listen, darling, I'm going to eat my chicken and dumplings, and when I'm done, I'm done. You cannot cry, because I have to leave.
You're interrupting a story.
Everyone!
Interrupting the story. I have one eyebrow that goes very high.
It's a party.
Bronze, turn away because Katie's telling us a story.
Righto, cheerio! That's a Northern England So anyway, I fetch my bowl of chicken and dumplings and I sit next to my nephew, a cheery old fella, and we eat our chicken. Well, I eat my chicken and dumplings, and then I get up to leave because I'm done, and he starts crying. And I said, Dakota, I told you once, I'm going to eat my chicken and dumplings, and you can't cry when I want to leave. Well, he just looked so sad.
The face again. The face again. Come on. Ah, terrible. You get zoom right.
And I pointed to the can of crushed black pepper, and I said, do you know what this can is, Dakota? And he said, and I said, will you ever touch this can again in your entire life? And he said, no. And I said, if I dumped this bowl out, and I gave you a fresh bowl, don't you tell a soul. So I dumped out the bowl.
It's half as funny as the reactions you get of Jules.
So I dumped out the bowl of crushed black pepper chicken and dumplings, and I gave him a fresh bowl, and he started eating happy as a little clown. And I go into the living room. Do you call it the living room, darling?
Yes, living room is fun.
I go into the living room and I sit on the couch, and then my grandmother comes, my nun, she comes storming into the living room, and she says,
Like Jules is like dead.
she says, don't you ever do that again. And I said, okay, Nun. And she said, no, you undermined my authority. No, you go in there and you watch him eat it. And I said, Nan, he's gonna eat it. And she said, no, get up and go in there and watch him eat it.
So when I film for a minute, my hand is cramping.
Yeah, it's fine.
And I said, and at this point I had gotten off the couch, and I was trying to smooth it over so that my brother didn't think that I was questioning his parenting techniques, and I just don't like people yelling at me. So I looked at my nun and I said, Granny, please don't yell at me. And she said, I'll yell at whoever I want. And she punched me in the face. And I thought for a moment, and I said, no, ma'am. So I punched her back. And I knew by the look on my nun's face, I knew by the look on her face that no one had ever punched her back, but I did. So she punched me back, and I punched her back, and we just punched each other. We got into a full-on brawl, and it only ended.
You don't need to turn, I just need to look.
It only ended when my brother stood up and separated us, and he said, enough, ladies. And although it's not clear that I won this fight because somebody broke it up, I did have her bent over and punching upwards, so I would say that I won that fight. I think that's the end of the story.
Okay, and Jules' reaction is?
I'm amused.
Eyebrow raise.
Jules, was it good for you, Jules?
Was it good for you, darling?
Oh, look, good background.
Forehead sex. Hold on, I can't. Ah, shite.
Sorry, we're back at Jules now. I get.
Yeah, she called me a fucking crazy lady. I'll tell you what, you Australians have no respect for the Queen. Oh, don't get that on film. That's a private time.
Private times, really?
Private time.
Private sexy dubs, is it?
But anyway, that's my story of having a fist fight with my grandma. But I will say, and I know a lot of you are like, oh my god, what a horrible human being. Right, I know that a lot of you are like that. However, my nun, she's 5'9". I will remind you of my height of 5' nothing. So, and I mean, she's heavier than I am. She could outwalk me any day. I mean, I could probably outrun her, but
darling,
my nun, my grandma.
your grandmother
She's having a punch up with.
So am I.
Oh, see? It would be like, oh, I could never. And I have her bent over punching upward.